Welcome to the Sports World 1869, a world so large you are a part of it whether you know it or not. Week 2 has just happened, and I'm going to give you my thoughts in the second edition of A Week of Review. In the last week's edition of Week of Review, I gave my thoughts on how I think the week went. I also gave my thoughts on the outlook of each team and how the season is going to play out. For this week, I'm not going to do that for two reasons. One, the video was kind of long, and two, it's week 2. Not much has changed, but I will give some follow-ups on some things that did change from week 1, but like I said, it was not that much. Now, what I did was I have a list of certain categories, and I give awards to certain players based on how they fit into those categories, and I'm going to reveal the worst and best of this week based on those categories. So stay tuned, let's get started. So now I just want to give my follow-ups on some things I mentioned in my first edition of the Week of Review. So the first thing I want to talk about is Nelson Cruz. And the reason why is because in my first video I mentioned that I think he's not doing enough offensively, and if he wants to be better, that he has to be better, and he has been phenomenal. He's hitting home runs left and right, giving this offense a significant push because, as everyone knew last year, the Mariners were not a strong offensive team, and he is finally giving them that push they need to be a good team, and they're winning now because of it, and that's very important for your Mariner fans, and of course if you're a Nelson Cruz fan. So that's the first thing I want to mention. Chris Sale has 2 wins, so you know right away that he is pitching better and helping this team win. That's the kind of impact that an ace pitcher like him has, and it's going pretty well too. And Jeff Samardzija had a good rebound start where he only allowed 1 run against David Price, so you know he's getting better. Hopefully he's figured things out for the White Sox fans. Wade Miley on the Boston Red Sox, he had a bad start, which confirmed my suspicions that the Boston Red Sox starters are kind of not as great as people think they are. Buckles had a bad start, Masterson had a bad start, and Miley did too as well. So their offense has to be better, and it's been great. And don't get me wrong, it's been good. That's the only reason why they're doing anything, because their pitching staff has been terrible at this point. I thought it was going to be, and so far it's living up to my expectations. I mentioned the Angels. Calhoun needs to hit more. He is hitting more, which is very important because Pujols is smashing home runs, but you got to have a good leadoff man to get them there, and he's been doing that. I mentioned with the Cardinals, the offense needs to be better, and it has been a little better. I think Hayward hit his first home run, so that's something good, and they are getting good support from other offensive players, so that's important to note. The pitching, like I said, for the Cardinals was solid before, and it's solid now, so that's something very important to note. The Reds, I mentioned with the Reds that they looked good and bad, and they're looking worse and worse and worse every time I watch them. Marlon Byrd, I said, where are you? I have no idea, and I have to say, even now, I still have no idea where he is and why he's not helping out this team, because this offense looks terrible. The pitching looks terrible. Everything looks terrible. I was hoping for some better news about the Reds. It's not here. Gallardo had a bad start against the Rangers his very first time out, and at this point, he has been much better, and that's very important because the Rangers are losing a lot of games, and at least we got something good from one of the starters. The Blue Jays, I mentioned, they looked great on every aspect. I mean, Donaldson was hitting a lot of home runs, but unfortunately, Devon Travis may have hurt himself, and so did Jose Reyes, who he cracked his rib. Thank goodness that happened. Sarcasm alert. Now that's going to hurt the Blue Jays even more because the pitching staff for the Blue Jays, I said, needed some work. And boy, does it need some work, because unfortunately, every single starter has like an ERA above 4 right now. And don't even start on Brett Cecil. I had hopes Brett Cecil was going to be a great closer. Not so much anymore, so I have doubts about that. Matt Harvey looks great. Just all you got to say. He just looks great. So does Scherzer and David Price, and those guys are having good starts. And Clayton Kershaw ERA is below 5 now. It's below 5. He basically destroyed the Rockies in his last start. But he still needs some work. I know the Rockies are a good offensive team. They're still scoring a lot of runs, but the pitching has been faltering, and that's just because, like I mentioned, it's the Rockies. What were you expecting? The Royals and the Tigers, both their undefeated streaks came to an end. Ironically, the Royals, they lost to the Twins, the worst team in the division, beat them, but they're still a good team. Just don't let Ventura pitch because he loves to start fights with people, which I'll get to later. Paul Goldschmidt on the Diamondbacks was very good. I mentioned before that he drives and runs. He hits home runs. He gets the key hits, and he's still doing that for this team as they were beating teams like the Giants and others as well. And he was very good for them. The Giants they've lost so many games in a row. It just looks bad for them. It's an odd year, so what did you expect the Giants to do anyways? But I'm just saying they're not doing so well. The Padres look great. I mean, those Myers, Middlebrooks, Kemp, Upton, Norris, and of course, we cannot have a discussion with the Padres and not mention Craig Kimbrel, who has been shutting people down since he got to the Padres, and that's helping the team win a big win. I just wanted to mention those were some things I noted before, and I'm just continuing to mention them now because they're still relevant and they're still happening. So those are the things I wanted to follow up on from the last week of how things are going and how things are not going in certain cases. But other than that, it was a very exciting week. So the best part about this week was, of course, Kris Bryant's debut, right? No, it wasn't. The best part about this week was Jackie Robinson Day. A day devoted to Jackie Robinson and his overall impact in baseball, the world of sports, and the world itself. His man has paved the way for so many minorities to come into this world and do the great things that they have today. All the best players you see in sports are because of this man, Jackie Robinson, and it was absolutely phenomenal, especially the Dodgers game because you got to see great legends like Sandy Koufax and Frank Robinson weigh in their thoughts on him, and it was absolutely emotional and fantastic. And yes, Kris Bryant did technically debut, and he struck out 3 times to James Shields and didn't really do anything. But of course, don't worry, Cubs fans, because the next day he got a hit and scored a run. And you better believe the whole world stopped moving when that happened. That's how significant the Messiah is to the world of baseball. So now I'm going to give out my awards for the week. First award goes to the best starter of the week, and that has to be Max Scherzer. He was just so dominant out there in his starts. He has been everything the Nationals thought he would be, and even more. He's finally getting run support. He's still striking out guys. His ERA is below 1. The only other guy I thought maybe was as good as he was David Price of the Tigers, who's also been very phenomenal and both keeping the runs off the board and getting in those Ks. And so both guys are really good, but it has to go to Max Scherzer. Best reliever of this week is kind of biased and kind of obvious too, and that is Craig Kimbrel. Since he's come to the Padres, he's been so dominant. One game I saw, Mark Trumbo on the Diamondbacks, he was terrified of Craig Kimbrel. At least it seemed like it because he got 397 fastballs and he was out just like that. So Craig Kimbrel's impact has been significant. The other guy I thought maybe should go on here too is Jason Grilli. I know that's surprising because Jason Grilli was so bad on the Pirates, and if you want to know exactly how long ago that was last year. So to see him saving games for the Braves, a team that lost Kimbrel and Walden, and they're still getting work from their relievers, you have to commend it. You got to respect it, and Jason Grilli has been very effective for this team. I don't know how long that will last, but for this time and this week, he is one of the best relievers in baseball today. My next award is not a flattering one, and probably one you don't ever want to get, and that is Worst Starter of the Week. And I have Erasmo Ramirez of the Tampa Bay Rays as that man. Why? Because against the Blue Jays, he gave up 7 runs in 3 innings. It was very embarrassing, and the Blue Jays just beat him like a drum. Chris Tillman of the Orioles, I thought maybe he should go on there because he had a bad start too. As did Kyle Loach of the Brewers, who continues to have bad starts. But I give it to Erasmo Ramirez because the amount of runs he gave up, and he wasn't fooling anybody out there. Sometimes pitchers, they look good at least in the first inning, and then things go to crap. But in terms of Erasmo Ramirez, it was just bad all around. So I have to say it was pretty bad. Now I want to give out the award for the worst reliever of the week. That has to go to Todd Redmond of the Blue Jays, who in that same game made it interesting because if you look at the score, it was 12-7. And that's Redmond's fault because he just gave up so many runs to a team that no one thinks is offensively good. But Redmond made it happen, and so did the Blue Jays by putting him back in the minor leagues and calling up Ryan Goins. That's how bad it was. He was so bad they demoted him the game afterwards. Phil Klein of the Rangers was bad as well. He gave up 7 runs. And Addison Reed is not exactly, his numbers aren't exactly terrible, but it's very frustrating when your closer can't get the key outs when you need him to, and that's why Addison Reed is on here, because he is having a difficult time doing that. And I'm sure you can mention any other closer, but I watched that game against the Giants, and I was just... no words to describe how angry I was. The next award I have to give out is the best home run of the week, and that has to go to Bryce Harper. His 463 feet mammoth blast was impressive, and that's the kind of power he has. There were other cool home runs this week. I mean, Cruz has got plenty, just take your pick. But Bryce Harper's 463 blast was insane. Heck, you could even say Soler's two-run home run games, or even what Votto was doing, but I have to give to Bryce Harper. Wow, what a hitter. The best hitter of the week I have to give to Adrian Gonzalez. One, because I think he leads the league in batting average, and he's been the leader for this team offensively, and it's the reason why they've won so many games in a row, and why they'll continue to win games because of how good he is. Miguel Cabrera has been great as well, and he at one point was considered to be the best hitter in baseball. I still think he is, and he's proving it to me every day. And Paul Goldschmidt if he's not leading in categories, he's like number 2 in basically everything: home runs, RBIs, batting average. He is literally delivering when it counts, and that's why he should be on here too. But because Adrian Gonzalez is just doing more than those other 2 players, I have to put him on here as the best hitter of the week. Let's talk about the worst hitter of the week, and my award goes to Marlon Byrd, because, as I said, where are you, Bird? I have no idea. You could technically say the entire Reds team, because that's how bad it's been lately, but I'm going to just give it to Marlon Byrd, because how many times are you going to watch a Reds game, and he comes up to bat, and we need a key run, and he does nothing? That's the kind of hitter he is, and going to be this whole year, so really, really annoying to watch him, and I'm a Reds fan, so for me, personally, it was very offensive. I'm putting him as the worst hitter of this week. And don't be surprised if you see him winning this over and over again, because that's how bad he is. And I know there's other hitters out there who may have been worse, but Byrd is not the word. Next I have for the award of Jerk of the Week, and I'm giving it to Yordano Ventura, because he hit Brett Lawrie, and the guy just seems to have issues when you score against him. I know he's young, and he's only second year in baseball, but look, you're going to make mistakes. People are going to hit balls off you. You got to move on and relax and do better the next time. Not take your anger on people and throw your ball at Lawrie or whoever. Calm down. It's just one game. The man is insane sometimes, and he's crazy. He's got anger issues. Right now, it doesn't look that good. I mean, I think Oakland and Royals, every game, there was a dugout fight. And I'm not saying he was the only reason for it, but he was definitely a reason for it. And so I definitely think that's worth noting. The best defensive catch of the week has to go to Kevin Pillar. It was insane. He matrixed up the wall. It was so cool to watch, and I've watched it many times. I watched it, of course, live when it happened, but one of the best defensive catches I saw the whole week. There are other good ones too, but that one was crazy. I mean, there was the one with Nolan Arenado. He went over the tarp used for the rain to catch a ball in the seats. It was fantastic. He's such a great defensive player. They were saying give him the Gold Glove now, and I agree. Give it to him right now. He's so talented. The worst defensive play of the week, and there were a lot, but the worst one has to go to Hanley Ramirez. Did you see it when the ball hit across the green monster, and he played it so badly? I mean, wow. He was under it. It went over his head. He took kind of a tumble, and it was very embarrassing to watch. He laughed it off, of course. It's just a joke to him, but it was still embarrassing, and it was probably the worst defensive play of the week. So those are my thoughts on week 2 of baseball. If you have thoughts of your own, please share them in the comment section below. And remember, you're not just sharing your thoughts with me, but with the entire world of sports. If you liked the video, please throw some heat at the like button. Thanks for watching. I will see you again next time, and have a great day.